Welcome to Community Taking Action. My name is Eric Mitchell and I'm your host. This is ABCD's program highlighting people and organizations doing great things in and around the Boston community. And here to join us today from Roca is Mr. John Ward. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Eric. Glad to be here.
Let's talk about Roca and the work that you do. It's in Chelsea, is that correct?
That's right. We have our main administrative headquarters, and we also run programming out of Chelsea. We also have a site in Springfield, Mass. As well.
What is Roca? What does Roca stand for?
Well, Roca actually is not an acronym. It means rock in Spanish.
Okay.
One of the words for rock in Spanish. There are a few. But it was started in Chelsea in about 1988 and served a largely Latino population. So the founder and CEO, Maldi Baldwin, really wanted to create a community-based program that helped high-risk young people sort of move out of violence and poverty. That's the essential mission of Roca. We've really focused on this group that is really responsible for public resources to be drained. As you know, there's an incarceration crisis in the United States.
Certainly.
Our jails and prisons are incredibly overcrowded. It's incredibly expensive to incarcerate people. And the recidivism rate, the rate at which people come back to prison, is 65 to 70% over a 6-year span. So incarceration is not working. Not everyone needs to be incarcerated, but also it's not rehabilitative in the same way it is to intervene in someone's life, teach them the skills that they need, and help them grow and learn and change their own behaviors and become sustained long-term employees and citizens that are taxpayers. We have what I would call a very robust intervention model for the highest risk young men primarily. And we have a secondary population which we serve that is high-risk young mothers with a multitude of risk factors. But the young men we serve, the intervention model really is driven toward moving them out of crime and then reducing incarceration rates, and then also moving them into long-term employment, because as you know, long-term employment is one of the greatest determinants of long-term success for individuals in this society.
And is that one of the core programs of Roca, working with this hard-to-reach group of young men?
So this is the highest group of 17 to 24-year-old young men. Young men that really have been utterly disengaged, find themselves often in gangs, doing and selling drugs, involved in violence, and really have nowhere else to turn. No other programs are really fit to serve them because of the risk level. And so the intervention model works to engage them through intensive outreach. We have street workers that go out, we call them youth workers, go out into the community. They get referrals from the police and probation and the courts, whom we work with heavily. And they bring them in and engage them in programming, such as life skills programming, GED and ESL programming.
So you have a multi-stage approach to working with folks?
We do. There are multiple phases of engagement. Most of the young men, they're highly disengaged from every other institution except for the criminal justice system, really has no experience working within an institutional framework. So the very first chunk of it, a long time, is really devoted to building trust between young people and the youth workers. And once that trust is built, it's a sort of a relentless process of outreach. We find them wherever they may be, whether it's getting out of court, whether it's on the block selling drugs, whether it's at their house and they don't want to wake up and go to work, wherever they may be. Our youth workers go out, relentlessly engage them, essentially harass them into showing up at Roca. And at a certain time, the young people get the sense that these youth workers aren't going away, and they can trust them, they can rely on them.
What length of time?
There's a 2-year intensive piece of the model.
Wow.
And then there's a 2-year less intensive follow-up. So it's really a 4-year model, and it costs roughly $5,000 to $6,000 a year to serve a young person for that amount of time, but the alternative costs, as you know, are much greater. Certainly they're facing incarceration, which is an incredible expense. But central really to getting these young guys to move along is to make sure that they're prepared to go to work, which means a whole slew of pre-vocational training that they're entered into, and then long-term transitional employment to get them jobs eventually. Our work is growing right now, and we have interest from other places in the country.
Hard to say if that's good or not good. You're doing well.
Right. So the need is there,
The need
and
is there.
and it's not a good thing that so many people remain incarcerated and continue to become incarcerated. However, I think that state governments are realizing and city governments are realizing and police are realizing that we can't just continue to incarcerate young people. We need to find a better way.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I really appreciate you taking time to come on.
You're very welcome.
How will someone get in touch with you all to make a referral or more information?
The phone number is 617-889-5210, and that's in our Chelsea headquarters.
We want to thank John for coming on. If you want to get more information from ABCD and the programs that we do, you can reach the ABCD website or 617-348-6000. Thank you for tuning into ABCD's Community Taking Action. My name is Eric Mitchell. Until next time.